One might think at the moment with the COVID-19 problems that we're having, the aerospace industry is pulling in everything, and perhaps we've seen the immediate chase really to get the first of the urban air mobility aircraft out and to do other things that are going to keep our skies as blue as they are at the moment. Well, some companies are. Vertical Aerospace have just appointed Tim Williams as their chief engineer. Tim's come from Rolls-Royce, where he was chief engineer there. So a bit of a strange jump, isn't it, going from one of the biggest blue chip engineering companies to come to a startup? What is it that's driving you to do that?
It's not necessarily a jump I anticipated making. The more I found out about the opportunities, the more I found out about the technology and the future, the more I became drawn into this desire to get involved in something really ambitious, an opportunity to shape the future of transport, not only in this country, but around the world. It's going to be a massive challenge. The technology hurdles are absolutely huge, but I think it's just the excitement of doing something really big, really scary, and very new. As I keep saying to people, design a product that's never been designed before, to fly in an airspace that's unregulated against a set of requirements that don't really exist. What's not to like about it?
Vertical itself has done very well, hasn't it, since it began and had an aircraft flying, and that seemed to go pretty well. But it's a model, really, isn't it? It's not. There was 250 kilograms, I think, which is not going to be what we're looking at. So what is the engineering challenge that you've got to take up to do that?
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, so far, Vertical have flown 2 prototypes. Proof of concept, which was probably 2 or 3 years ago, and the heavy lift drone, which they flew. Those were all aimed around developing flight control systems, understanding redundancy, just to demonstrate the concept. Our next step is to develop yet another prototype to try and understand where we sit relative to what is ultimately going to be a set of certification requirements. I think the biggest issue we've got is batteries. We know that batteries are currently limited. We know that technology is changing quite rapidly, driven by not only the aerospace. And I think it's also going to be challenges around how we get this aircraft as light as it possibly can be. So we're going to have to very quickly adapt other ways of doing things.
So as a smallish startup, how easy is it to get access to the regulator to actually say, this is what we want to do? Are they behind you?
They are. And clearly, I'm just getting to grips with all these relationships. But thus far, the company has had a really good relationship with the ARSA. I think they first started talking over a year ago. Clearly, earlier this year, we heard that the UK government is tending not to look to collaborate with the ARSA in terms of certification. So we'll now shift our focus to the CAA.
Now, I live on the flight path to London City Airport, and I look out of the window today and there's empty skies. People are getting used to that idea. People are going to be a bit more interested in what you're doing and more realistic rather than cynical.
No, I think they will be. Social distancing is going to be here for a long, long time. So putting aside the environmental considerations, I think, we will see the development of a market for these more personal, more on-demand air vehicles.
I know a lot depends on the regulator, but do you have a time scale in mind to when you expect to see Vertical being able to genuinely carry the payload that would take, I think, 4 passengers somewhere?
We're now launching our 3rd prototype. That's a program that's still very much in its infancy. We're refining the design. I would think within the next couple of years, we'll have that technology demonstrated. And our ambition, and I think the ambition of the industry, is to be looking to have viable certified products by the 2024, 2025 timeframe.
And who do you see operating? Do you see traditional airlines perhaps starting to get involved in the operation?
I think if you'd asked me that question maybe 2 months ago, I think I probably would have said yes. Clearly the world has changed massively, and I don't know how long it's going to take for the, if you like, conventional airline industry to take off. But I can certainly see the attractions of these sort of vehicles for that industry once it recovers. I can see them being used as initially probably on some already established routes, maybe some small intra-city hops. I think it might be a while before we start seeing these vehicles used within the urban airspace, because there's clearly a lot to do around regulating that airspace.
And in your dreams, if you like, how big do you see this getting?
The technology in time will be there to displace the helicopter market. So any routes currently served by conventional helicopters could be open to this level of technology. So, I mean, I guess it's scalable to passengers level, up to say 8 passengers.
Well, it's certainly something to look forward to, and certainly can understand why you're taking up that engineering challenge to do it. So, Tim, thank you very, very much for your time with that. Thank you.